Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, Wizards fans? Welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. This is your host, the real Ed Oliver. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Wizards wherever you can get a podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Make sure you hit that notification bell. We are on YouTube now, so now you can see me. You can watch it on YouTube. Watch the show every day, 5 days a week. Training camp day one, man. Training camp day one. I really wish they had a Hard Knocks version for the NBA. That would be a dream for me, a dream come true, so we could just see the interaction and the action with the guys. Yesterday was media day, day one. A lot of guys had some, different takes on different things. Of course, the vaccine. I'll talk about the vaccine just a little bit. Don't want to badge you guys with the vaccine talk. I know everybody here just wants to talk basketball. We just want to see basketball. We want to see some action. We want to hear about action. We don't want to hear about the vaccine, even though it is important to society. It is important to the world. And of course, availability of players. It is super, super important. But like I said, I don't want to just badger you guys with vaccine talk, even though it is super, super important. Bradley Beal. So I'll read a quote from Bradley Beal. He did speak on it again today. We know his side. He did not take the vaccine. And he felt pretty strongly about it. He asked the media, he was like, how can you still get COVID if you get the vaccine? He asked the media different questions, and he said he's still learning about it, basically. So this is a quote from Bradley Beal. Bill emphasized today that he is not anti-vax or suggesting people should not get it or that he won't get the vaccine. He has not gotten the vax because he just now cleared 60 days after having the virus. He will continue to ask questions, and when he feels confident about the answers, he will decide. He clarifies that he's not telling people not to be vaccinated. He hasn't ruled it out, but has his own opinion and is asking to respect it. So it looks like he talked to some more people and got some feedback on it and then kind of changed his tune, because the way he was talking yesterday, he was kind of, he's asking reporters, kind of challenging people, for their answers, why they got the vaccine, why can you still get COVID if you took the vaccine. Like I said, it's just like the flu shot. You can still get the flu, but it's supposed to prevent the effects from happening. I think everybody knows that. So there was an interesting quote from Natasha Cloud, who plays for the Washington Mystics. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of Mystics basketball. I know they didn't make the playoffs this year. I know they have Atlanta Deladon, and they had a good team. Of course, they won the championship a couple of years ago with Musselman and Atlanta Deladon, Christy Tolliver. They had a squad, and they still got a squad right now. But she added, Bradley Beal on Twitter said, the info has been presented to us numerous times, and they never said it would keep us from getting COVID, but it drastically decreases chances of death and slowing the curve. She also said, you still my guy, though, but let's save lives. So that's all I'm going to say about the virus. You take that information for whatever it's worth. He has somebody who is in the building, in Natasha Cloud. Now, they do play somewhere else now. They do play in Southeast D.C. instead of playing at the Capital One Arena like they did a couple years ago, or the Verizon Center at that time. But, she says some information to Bradley Beal. And, he has a lot of information that he can get from others. So it's his decision. Once again, it's his body. I just don't want him to miss games. I don't want him to miss games when we have to play in different cities and different things like that. Or if he has come to the close contact, like the Olympics, he wasn't able to play during the season. We were out. We didn't play a game for 2 weeks. The summer league team didn't get to play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Wizards have been strucken by COVID-19. We just cannot get past it, and it's still gonna affect the league. It really is. There's gonna be games. There's still gonna be some guys in protocols. There's even in the NFL. There's some guys who missed the game due to protocols. So it's still here. It's not gone. I know everything's open basically, and things are somewhat coming back to normal. We're going out, going to parties and whatnot, stuff like that. But it's still here. We just can't get away from it. It is what it is on this part. But let's get to basketball. I do want to announce the training camp roster. I apologize. I should have said the training camp roster before. Of course, Denny, Bradley Beal, Davies, Thomas Bryant, KCP, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jamie Echenique, who was on the summer league team and played for Wichita State. I thought Jamie Echenique was the best player on the summer league team. Anthony Gill, Jordan Goodwin from St. Louis, who was on the show earlier when he did an NBA work. He did a draft workout for the Washington Wizards. Rui, who's not currently with us right now. Montrezl Harrell, Aaron Holiday, Jay Huff out of Virginia, the 7'1" big man, Corey Kispert, Kyle Kuzma, Raul Neto, Jordan Shackle from San Diego State, Isaiah Todd, and Cassius Winston. So that is the training camp roster. News and notes again, the first preseason game is October 5th against the Rockets, and the first game of the season is October 20th versus the Raptors. So, and then also we have some contract extensions coming up for Rui and also for Denny Avdia. So they have a deadline coming up for their contracts. I got to look at the date here real quick. I'm trying to find the date because I wrote it down. October 31st. So Halloween. Wizards housekeeping. This is from Quentin Mayo. October 31st is the last day to exercise the third-year team option of Denny and fourth-year team option of Rui. So, like you saw with that big deal that Michael Porter Jr. got, Rui's in that same boat. They're both in their third year in the NBA or coming up on their third years. They can, Rui is eligible for a max extension. If the Wizards felt he played up to that level, which is very debatable on Michael Porter Jr.'s part, then, they could offer him a 5-year, $181 million max extension. So, I don't see that coming anytime soon for Rui. Not saying that he's not a good player, but, if he plays up to that, maybe he could get it next year. Maybe he could get a large max extension if Rui comes in and averages 20 points and 10 boards a game or something like that. He get that Trae Young extension, that Luka Doncic extension. So that's just keeping it in context. And then Denny, they're going to – most likely they're going to exercise his option for the third year. Of course, I think 110% they're going to exercise his option, and they'll exercise Rui's option for his fourth year. Now, last year, Jerome Robinson, I want to say they didn't exercise the option. So just to keep it in context, those are the guys. Mo Wagner, I want to say last year they didn't exercise his option last year, either his rookie fourth-year option, and then he ended up getting traded before the trade deadline. So just to keep some housekeeping notes and keep you guys up to date what's going on in the foreseeable future. Yesterday, I didn't get to some quotes about Denny from Daniel Gafford, Thomas Bryant. I did not get to all of the media day quotes because I had to talk about the Russell Westbrook trade rumor or him telling Bradley Beal to request a trade and whatnot. I had to get to that. I had to get to the vaccine stuff. I just had to get to so much stuff that wasn't about basketball. Wes Unseld talked today. Daniel Gafford talked today. And Bradley Beal talked today. So let's talk about that. Let's actually talk about some ball and what these guys had to say about the upcoming season. Daniel Gafford wants to be in the dunk contest. I cannot wait for that. But let's talk before we get into the basketball talk. This episode is brought to you by Sweatblock. Doctor created, doctor recommended. Works for up to 7 days per use and dry shirt guarantee. It is still warm outside in the DMV. So you got, the sweaty armpit area, man. Sweatblock helps you out with that. If Sweatblock doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back. Featured and tested on the Rachel Ray Show by firefighters. Bestseller on Amazon for the past 10 years. Over 13,000 reviews, manufactured in the USA. Wear what you want. Your little secret of confidence. This is a must-have for everyone's toiletry bag. Whether it's a big presentation or a hot date, everyone can benefit. Sweatblock was featured on the Rachel Ray Show, and also firefighters wear it as well. The promo code is locked on for 20% off on CVS or sweatblock.com or on Amazon. The promo code is locked on. This episode is also brought to you by Rock Auto. The ever-increasing numbers of makes and models is now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning? Is your Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer. Choose the only brand their warehouse happens to carry. You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. They have everything you can need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right locked on in there. How did you hear about us box, so they know we sent you. All right, so let's get into the quotes. So what I'm going to do is read and react. Like I said yesterday, just read and react from media day quotes. I didn't even talk about Spencer Dinwiddie, some of the stuff that he said. He said he's vaccinated, so he joked around and said no controversy here. A lot of the guys pumped up Daniel Gafford. I want to read a stat from Daniel Gafford as well that I found per basketballnews.com. Which defenders held opponents to the lowest field goal percentage on shots within 6 feet from the rim per NBA stats, minimum of 200 shots faced? Number one is Draymond Green. He allowed a 45% field goal percentage. Number two is Rudy Gobert, 48%, 48 percentage. Number three is Miles Turner, 48 percentage field goal percentage. Number four is Brook Lopez, 49% at the rim. And then Daniel Gafford comes in at number five at 49.6 percentage at the rim. So that just shows you how much of a boss Daniel Gafford is, how much of an anchor, a defensive anchor, how much of a rim protector that Daniel Gafford is. He's mentioned with all those guys. All these guys are defensive studs. Draymond Green has been on an NBA All Defensive Team. Rudy Gobert has won Defensive Player of the Year. Miles Turner has been a defensive stud. He averaged 2 blocks a game multiple times in his career. Brook Lopez is a great rim protector as well. Him being 7 feet tall, Daniel Gafford is a elite rim protector, in my opinion. I think he can definitely make that leap with the playing time. And if he's in shape and stays out of foul trouble, I think the sky is the limit for Daniel Gafford. So let's get into so Spencer Dinwiddie. I do want to read a quote from here that I thought was pretty funny as well. No controversy over here, baby. Just he also jokes that as long as Daniel Gafford is healthy and vaccinated, that they have a chance against every team in the league. Also, Spencer Dinwiddie tried to buy a Wizards patch. I want to say it was for about $12 million. You know, this guy is into just anytime he can make money, that's what he's looking for. This guy's a businessman and he's an entrepreneur. That's how he does things. So Spencer Dinwiddie, there's just never a dull moment with him. He's so intelligent as well. When you listen to him talk, you feel like you're listening more about basketball. He talked about setting guys up, setting Montrezl Harrell up, how to pass the ball to Daniel Gafford, where he wants at different spots. You remember in interviews, introductory press conference, he talked about his chemistry with DeAndre Jordan, his chemistry on the Nets with Jared Allen, how to set what kind of passes they like. Do they like a bounce pass? Do they like a lob pass? So he has to learn the chemistry with his teammates, learn how Daniel Gafford likes to receive the basketball in the paint, how Montrezl Harrell likes to receive the basketball in the post, or, you know, lobs, pick and roll, different things like that. Bradley Beal. So he's got to fill out his teammates to the chemistry. He is going to be our floor general. He is going to be our point guard, our one of our backcourt leaders, the dynamic duo with Bradley Beal. So I'm excited to see what Spencer Dinwiddie can do. Like I said, averaged 20 points in 2020 and 7 assists per game. Got to the free throw line about 7 times per game. This guy can boogie. He can score and play at an all-star level when he was given the keys to the car. So I think him being, you know, I'm not going to call him a Robin to Bradley Beal, but him being on the passenger side, them two just driving the car, I'm excited to see it, man. These are 2 dynamic guards that can play and boogie on you and score on you, you know, and can play downhill and get to the rim and create contact and finish hard to the cup. So, and then also I do want to read a quick quote. This is from Arbel Margalit on Twitter. He did give me this quote, Denny talking about his workouts. I did talk about this yesterday, but there was an interesting nugget that talked about his 2K rating. Denny responded, "What do I think about my rating in 2K? Listen, for a second year, I'll take it. You know, it always makes me happy seeing that I'm in a game I grew up playing, but I believe that I'll get better with time. I believe it won't be my final rating." So Denny just poking fun about that. But like I said, he talked about waking up at 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., working out every day in the grind, being in the weight room, and I love it so much. I just want to see this guy bulk up and get stronger. I think that's one of the parts that he has to work on, of course. So Wes Unseld spoke today. He did say that practice was 80% defense and 20% offense. So that's clearly a different atmosphere for the Washington Wizards. Bradley Beal even talked about it too. He's basically said it was 100% defense. He enjoyed that. He really enjoyed that. And like I said, it's a difference. We got to get better defensively. And we did switch a lot last year. We talked about that. We're not gonna be switching. We're gonna play the pick and roll differently. You see with the Nuggets that the way they played the pick and roll, they did a great job last year against that. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But let's see here. Wes Unseld, he also talked about, he wanted to say that if they are efficient at that range, he has no problem with it. Brings up Damian Lillard as an example of a player with the license to take those type of shots. He's talking about Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal wants to take more deeper threes. And I get it now. It creates more spacing on the floor. You know, it's interesting that he says that. You know, he wants to improve on his deep three. He didn't, like I said, he had one of his worst 3-point shooting years last year because he took some tough shots. So we're going to try to make that easier for him. Spencer Dinwiddie, KCP, Kyle Kuzma. Spencer Dinwiddie also had an interesting quote yesterday saying that KCP is most likely going to be the starting guard for them. He's going to be guarding the best player or the best guard on the opponent's team. So my projected starting 5 was Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, then Rui at the 4, and then Gaff at the 5. And Tommy Shepard already confirmed that Gafford starting at the 5, which is pretty easy for me. And of course, Bill and Dinwiddie would be the 2 starting guards. And then that 3 spot was up in the air for me. I personally would rather see Kyle Kuzma. I think Rui, because Rui is a guy that they want, the Wizards organization wants to build this team around, and they want to see if he can make that leap. So I already have him starting, of course. But for Dinwiddie to vouch and say that KCP is going to start at the 3 spot is very intriguing. It's very interesting to me. So it's kind of telling. Personally, I'd rather see Kuzma start and then have KCP come off the bench behind Bradley Beal. I think he would be good with that unit. With the second unit, it would be Raul Neto, then KCP at the 2. And then at the 3, it would be Denny. And then at the 4, it would be Davies. At the 5, it would be Montrezl Harrell. KCP will help out defensively. I think Raul would be a good defender as well. Denny was a solid defender last year. If he doesn't foul, if he gets down in the stance, he was a good defender. Davies, not much of a defender, but he can shoot the lights out. And then Harrell would be at the 5, and then Aaron Holiday would come in and be that 11th guy, that energy guy, just flying around, being a nasty defender, being an annoying pest out there and a shooter. But if KCP starts, then it would be Raul, Aaron Holiday. Then at the 3, Kuz would probably be at the 3 or at the 4. Kuz would be at the 3. Davies would be at the 4. And then Montrezl Harrell would be at the 5. So that bench unit, I like the bench unit with KCP and Raul and Denny at the 3, and then Davies at the 4, and then Harrell at the 5. I like that bench unit rather than the ladder with Aaron Holiday and Raul being that bench unit, in my opinion. That's just how I feel about it. But Wes Unseld goes on to say, he pumps up Daniel Gafford as well. Says his innate ability to change shots at the rim, I think it's an incredibly dynamic dynamic skill to have. Wes Unseld Jr. or Daniel Gafford. Wes Unseld Jr. goes on to say that defense would be perfect, and having second line defense like a shot blocker is huge. Said he hasn't had one of those in his coaching career. Nikola Jokic, he's not a shot blocker. This is not his game, and he didn't have that in Denver. That's very true. Wes Unseld Jr. also said there's a pretty good baseline I understand already. The only difference really is the terminology. Wes Unseld Jr. on where the former Laker players are on the defensive end. So Wes Unseld Jr. went to dinner with Bradley Beal a couple times. Bradley Beal dropped that gem. He talked about that, just gaining chemistry with the guys off of the court. Also talking about the team went to dinner as well yesterday, talking about their team goals and what they want to focus on and what they want to accomplish as well. So good to just see the guys getting some chemistry. And then this is on Denny, his injury status. Wes Unseld said he's still being eased to some degree. He was a full participant this morning, but a lot of that was against coaches. So Denny is being eased back. He was a full participant, but didn't go 5-on-5 or anything like that. He was participating with the coaches. So I do want to get to more about Wes Unseld Jr.'s press conference and Bradley Beal's press conference. And then we'll get to Daniel Gafford's. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by Built Bar. My favorite flavor is cookies and cream. They got coconut, cherry, barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, strawberry, orange, and German chocolate. If you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mix box where you'll get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. Check out the macros: 7 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Amazing flavors, all tasty, all healthy. Order today and grade the grasshopper, cookie, or raspberry, whatever you like. Go to Built.com and use promo code LOCK15 and you'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15. This episode is also brought to you by BetOnline. The Washington football team is favored by 1.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. So that's going to be a tough one. That's a toss-up. I got to look at the over-under on that one as well. But make sure you go to betonline.ag to put your bet in before the next pitch. Head over to BetOnline on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, because this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Promo code is locked on. All right, so Wes Unseld, here's another quote that stood out to me. On the surface, it looks like we'll be very competitive, but once again, time will tell. Coach Unseld on this team's upside. He said they had a dinner last night where expectations were laid out. He stressed a sense of urgency and getting off to a good start. So we got to get off to a good start. We started off last year 0-4. We might have been 0-5 last year when we started. I know we were really bad. We were 17-32, and then we ended up being 34-38, finishing the season 17-6. So I think it's going to be imperative to come off to a strong start. Always want to get to a strong start. We don't want to back into the playoffs kind of like we did last year. We just scratched and clawed. You just get in however you can get in. But we really want to we want to come off with a strong start, in my opinion, especially with Bradley Beal by the trade deadline. With trade rumors, if we start out bad, trade rumors are going to start swirling. They're already swirling now anyway. But if we start out bad, like it's a 17-32 going into the trade deadline, or let's say we're 10-25 or something, or 10-20 or whatever. Let's just say five games below 5. I keep saying this: 5 games below 500 or 5 games over 500. That's the mark for me. I think if we're five or more games below 500, that's when the storm is going to come, and then the trade rumors are just going to go even crazier by that time. Bradley Beal said that Coach Unseld wants him off the ball more, and not having to do everything all the time will help. We talked about that many times before. He wants to be off ball, handoffs, just getting him open so he doesn't have to just dribble while he's getting double team, triple team, boxing one. Teams were throwing boxing ones at Bradley Beal last year. Bradley Beal said we did a lot of switching last year. We won't do a lot of that this year. Built on one of the defensive changes. That's a breath of fresh air right there. We switched a lot. We had Robin Lopez guarding small guards. Just a lot of mismatches out there. Bradley Beal and Thomas Bryant, he's transitioning his mind to a new place. Bill said Thomas Bryant is one of his favorite people to play with. So like I talked about that high five, that pick and roll with Thomas Bryant, the pick and pop with Thomas Bryant. I remember Thomas Bryant hitting that game winner against the New York Knicks in London. That was off of a Bradley Beal pick and roll, Bradley Beal pass. Bradley Beal talked about practice as well. He said today was an awesome day. Bill went on to say it was electric with a strong emphasis on defense. Defense. The Washington Wizards playing defense. I can't wait to see it. A lot of hype right now, but I got to see it. It's like the Washington football team, a lot of hype. The defense hasn't lived up, so I'm not going to believe the hype until I see the Wizards buy in and lock in defensively. I think we have better athletes and better guys that can defend. Daniel Gafford, KCP, good defenders. Kyle Kuzma can defend as well. I think Rui can defend as well. So I gotta wait to see it. I won't believe the hype until I see it. Bradley said, I know I can be better. I have to be better. I have to push myself and be a lot better as a defender. That is facts. So he's supposed to be one of the defensive quarterbacks this year. We'll see if that can happen. Bradley Beal said, once again, Bradley Beal wants to make it clear. So let me look at this quote as well. He said, we want him back, but to take his time for sure. Talking about Rui Hachimura. So we hope Rui can bounce back and come back as soon as possible. Bradley Beal talks about the team's issues in the past, that he's been guilty of it as well, transition, defense, and rebounding the ball. And he just wants to improve on that. So let's see here. Let me get to some more quotes here. He says, Daniel Gaff has been a godsend ever since we got him. He has truly helped us out on both ends of the floor, Bradley Beal and Daniel Gafford. It's so funny because Daniel Gafford, he heard that Bradley Beal said that Gafford has been a godsend. And then Daniel Gafford said, that is so cringe. That is hilarious. Daniel Gafford, this is a funny team. This is a lot of characters on the team, a lot of interesting guys. I heard Kyle Kuzma was such a professional in his interview yesterday. Very mature guy. Very, had a lot of good things to say. So I'm excited about the guys just on and off the court. This is going to be interesting this year. It really is. Bradley Beal raved about Daniel Gafford's ability to catch the ball, period. Talked about his rim protection, his growth as a player. Said that Gafford is working on his touch around the basket, even a 15-foot jumper. So that's what I want to see from him too. I'm not expecting him to go out there and shoot threes, but if Daniel Gafford can give you a 10-foot jumper, a pick and pop, kind of like the Nene free throw jumper, then I would love to see that from Daniel Gafford. I'm not expecting him to step out and shoot threes or anything like that, but if Daniel Gafford can add that to his repertoire, to his game, that would be great. Bradley Beal, more on Daniel Gafford. This was the Daniel Gafford show, to be honest with you. It's a very big year for him. He's trying to get that money, so we're going to help him out. So Daniel Gafford in a contract year as well. A lot of people in contract years this year. Bradley Beal in a contract year. Raul Neto on a 1-year deal. Raul Neto on a 1-year deal. KCP, Kuzma on an expiring deal. I want to say Monsters Heroes on an expiring deal. So a lot of guys, a lot of money on their minds as well, as always. Let's see here. So let's get to Daniel Gafford, his presser, and then we'll wrap up here, and then we'll get to training camp day 2 tomorrow. Daniel Gafford said practice was great. He had a lot of great energy this morning. Talking about Wes Unseld, he said Wes Unseld was great. He had a lot of great energy this morning for sure. Another quote from yesterday, from Daniel Gafford that I didn't get to. Daniel Gafford read a tweet that said Daniel Gafford is going to be playing out of the league if he keeps playing like this with the Chicago Bulls. And Daniel Gafford took that to heart. These players, they read Twitter. If you don't think these guys aren't on Twitter, we already know Bradley Beal's on Twitter all the time. Talking about his 2K reading or whatever. Guys read tweets. They read stuff about them. KD, of course, KD loves Twitter. He's always responding to the common man, or Joe Schmo was always replying to that. But Daniel Gafford read this tweet, and I think it motivated him. It really did. Coming out of Arkansas, second-round pick, somebody who was an Arkansas fan who went to the University of Arkansas made this tweet about Daniel Gafford. Said if he's playing like this, he's going to be out of the NBA. Daniel Gafford also said Talking about KCP, Trez, and Kuzma, the professionalism that they have. Daniel talked about the professionalism that about KCP, Montrezl Harrell, and Kyle Kuzma coming from the Lakers. Daniel Gafford said the main thing is protecting home, making sure nobody gets easy shots on the inside. Spencer Dinwiddie, Daniel Gafford also joked about pinning Spencer Dinwiddie's shot on the backboard. I definitely believe that. That definitely 100% happened. Gafford said he's working on being able to defend all positions, talks about having a defensive mindset first and offense second. He said he got a real good glimpse of having a guard out of my position. Daniel Gafford, on one of the things he took from the playoffs, mentioning having to guard Simmons. Ben Simmons once Embiid went out. Now, Daniel Gafford, he struggled in the playoffs a little bit against Joel Embiid. Everybody struggles. Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate every single year. When Joel Embiid kept doing that pump fake, Daniel Gafford kept jumping forward. That's something that he has to improve. You cannot fall for that slow pump fake. You just can't do it. Daniel Gafford also says pick and roll defense, focusing on the teams we call out when a big sets a screen for a guard or if a screen is outside of the paint. Daniel Gafford on pick and roll defense being one of the main things the team worked on today. So he wants to focus on being able to be more of a threat on offense, wants to be seen as more than just a lob threat on things he worked on this offseason, wants to be able to provide more on offense so he can take pressure off of his teammates at times. So, yeah, I want him to focus on offense, but not, don't take away from your defense, but we want him to be a two-way player for sure. Daniel Gafford on Thomas Bryant's energy off the bench, giving energy to players coming off the floor. He said having vocal guys on the sideline is something that I always notice. Daniel Gafford on what made this offseason different than those in the past, essentially that he matured. He also said he took more responsibility for how much better he wanted to be. Daniel Gafford said he didn't meet the coach's standards in Chicago, that he took the opportunities for granted, said he had an open slate once he was traded and wanted to capitalize on it. So he said he took the opportunity for granted, came to Washington and wasn't playing around. He was like, man, this might be my last chance in the league. I'm a second round pick. I'm not a first round pick. First round picks get chances after chances after chances, but guys like him are second round picks. They don't get a lot of chances. And he took advantage of the opportunity. He also said, put me in the dunk contest. That's all I have to say. That was pretty funny. But Daniel Gafford and, JaVale McGee, former Wizard, was in the dunk contest. So that would be funny to see Daniel Gafford in the dunk contest. Bradley Beal says he was impressed with how Wes Unseld Jr. can control the rim, called the first training camp practice electric. I did talk about that already. Quick little nugget here. Bradley Beal admits he was reserved when the Wizards coaching search dragged on, but now says we made the right decision. The team made the right decision. Says he saw the humbleness that he sees in himself in Wes Unseld Jr. Also was excited by Wes Unseld Jr.'s vision of how to use him. Once again, this quote, Daniel Gafford said the difference this summer was he wanted to be in the gym every day, wanted to be better, and wanted to help the team more. Bradley Beal and Wes Unseld Jr. spent some time with each other in Los Angeles all season. They went out to eat. Unseld also watched Bill work out a few times. So I love the chemistry that they got going here. So those are all the news and notes I got today. They don't show practice film or anything like that. Football is a little different because they actually, go play by play what's going on and, who scored a touchdown, who got an interception, who fumbled, et cetera, stuff like that. But it's not like that with the NBA. So it's just different. I try to get as many quotes as I can, read and react, and listen to the press conference. So, of course, stay tuned. Hit the notification bell. We're going to be doing training camp every day. And then, like I said, October 5th, which is on a Tuesday night against the Rockets, 8:00. I can't wait for that. I really can't wait. First preseason game of the year. So, all right, you guys, make sure you guys subscribe and then comment below. I'm going to try my best to do a mailbag episode coming up sometime this week. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a question down below too, and I'll answer it and shout you out as well. So before we head out, make sure you guys check out Locked On Bets. Betting on the NFL, NBA doesn't have to be a guessing game. If you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling, get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's Lock of the Day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag, wherever you get your podcast. All right, you guys, make sure you guys follow Locked On Wizards on Twitter. My Twitter is EDTOOOFLAWT. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Wizards on YouTube and make sure you hit that notification bell. Hail to